Tithing and helping out, it gives you an opportunity to have a really positive relationship with money. I'm sure that a lot of people want to know what are the things that they need to consider before moving out. And I've actually listed out some things here, Coach, and I said the first one is to be honest with your reasons for moving out. Parang feeling ko kasi minsan, merong facade on social media that glorifies living independently and living outside your parents' house without really figuring out bakit mo nga ba gustong to move out of the house, right? So,
Kasi there are parang two things that you wanna consider if you wanna move out. First of all, maybe you're coming from ego. However, rather than that, I would suggest that you anchor it on the second one. Anchor it on values or life lessons that you wanna learn. Make that the reason why you wanna move out. Because there's a difference, and that would make a big difference in terms of the financial spendings that you're gonna be doing.
it's not an emotional decision, no, Coach? Kasi parang feeling ko, minsan, emotional decision siya na hindi, I want to feel independent. I want to feel and make others feel like I can do this. But if it's an emotional decision, it almost always backfires. So you have to be logical about these big changes and these big decisions that you make. So one of the things that you can consider also is to ask yourself, what will my life look like 3 to 5 years from now? If I do move out right now, what will my life look like? What are some of the basic things that you have to figure out in your 20s so that you could be living independently?
First thing that you have to do is, kahit na you're living independently or you're living with your parents, is to start paying for your own bills. Okay? Start with the little things so that when you when you decide to move out, you already know how it feels like paying for all of it. Second is that you prepare by living as if you are already independent. This is something that I'm doing. Okay, iniisip ko, if I am renting, I am living independently, magkano ba yung kailangan ko? And then lastly, siguro for me is that build your emergency fund. So, ibig sabihin, when you are, that's 6 months, times 6 of your average monthly income, okay? Bakit? Because when you live independently, hindi mo sure madami ng possible unnecessary expenses that would entail money. And so if you're still not living independently or you're planning, start building your emergency funds para meron kang, you won't have to, loan or ask for money from your parents, 'di ba, living independently ka, because may sudden na kailangan mong bayaran.
Very nice, very nice. And also, I love one of the things that my mentors told me before. Sabi niya, every time that money comes into your life, make sure that you know where it's going. Because if you don't know where it's going, whether it's going to your savings or your expenses or to your emergency funds or your investments, if you don't know where it's going, magugulat ka na lang, ubos na siya at hindi mo alam kung ano yung purpose ng pera na yon. So, by knowing where you're gonna take your money, those are very important things to remember, especially when you're busy. Kasi if you're constantly working, if you're doing your life in your 20s, chances are you're overwhelmed by all of these life changes. So, kailangan iset mo na yung mga bagay na pwede mong kontrolin and pwede mong tignan every so often so that you know where your life is going, at least financially as well. We talked about this before, how important insurance is, and really diversifying where your money goes and adding insurance into that whole plan of your finances. And I think living independently, that's the first thing that you have to also think about. Putting yourself in safety by investing in yourself and actually having insurance. So, what are your thoughts on insurance, and how can we start insuring ourselves even in our early 20s?
When you're in your early 20s, that's the best time actually to start building your insurance policy. So, okay, for health fund or health insurance, you can actually build a critical illness, and meron tayong tinatawag na hospital income benefit, or for some, meron din sila yung mga HMO, okay, yung mga health card. That's also one thing that you should be setting aside money for. Why? Because again, medyo malaki to, no, kapag ka tayo na hospital. Okay? Number two is, of course, your life insurance. So, life insurance, magkano ba dapat akong covered? Okay? At least 10 times of your annual income. And then, of course, number three is, yun nga yung sinasabi natin, yung sa mga estate, which is for those, pero kung early 20s pa kasi wala pa masyadong mga estate yan eh. Okay, but for early 20s, bakit mo kailangan na kumuha ng insurance? Because mura pa yan. Yan yung laging sinasabi, mura pa yan when you are younger. Diba? I know you also started your insurance policies when you were younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're paying it na less risk. You're paying it na mas bata ka. So, definitely something that you wanna invest in when you're starting your investments or your savings, okay? Also, because may mga bago ng insurance eh, that's what we call the VUL or the variable unit link, wherein you pay for your insurance but at the same time you get to invest in the stock market.
Ganda. And you know, the rule of pay yourself first applies to that. Insure yourself first and make sure that you're investing in your future. I want to go into giving, which I think is such an important part of living independently. Coach, why is it important to think about and even set aside, really mindfully set aside money for giving if you want to become independent?
If you want blessings to come into you, or whether that be in opportunities or financial blessings, okay, you have to start giving. It's a practice that you want to start as early as even if you're living with your parents still. Okay, if it becomes a habit, it will come back to you naturally.
Very nice. I think, you know, tithing and helping out, it gives you an opportunity to have a really positive relationship with money. That money is not just there for your necessities, for your needs, or for your wants. Money is actually there to make this world a better place if we use it properly.